everyone. Welcome to this new episode of our Student Spotlight series where we are able to showcase some of the work our past students have done. I'm Charlotte, one of the outreach coordinators here at CCIR, and it's our pleasure today to have Ari with us, who did our one-on-one mentorship. So firstly, can you just give us a brief introduction? So tell us where you're from, what year you are in school, and then what made you seek out CCIR?
Um, I guess I can do that. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Ari Rachmat. I am a senior in high school, and I'm studying in Jakarta Intercultural School, Jakarta, Indonesia. Um, why did I want to do CCIR? I guess I was really interested in research. I guess it's a step in more of the experiential learning, and I guess I wanted to see what it's all about, and uh, I guess find my interest in what I like. And I guess research and CCIR was my first step to doing that.
Nice. And can you give us a general overview of the course that you did? So you did our one-on-one mentorship where we designed the course around the student's specific research interest. So can you walk us through kind of what your course looked like and what your research topic was?
So, first of all, as mentioned earlier, I did the one-on-one session with a mentor. Her name was Dr. Sirtach, and honestly, I could not have asked for a better mentor. She was amazing, and she helped guide me through the entire process. So essentially, the process was like we met every day, every Saturday or so, one-on-one, where we just went through the entire process of how to write a research paper. I was given like advice, like how do I create a research question? How do I create interview questions? How do I actually have the skills to interview people? How to analyze data? How to use that data to defend your thesis and your ideas? How to write a literature review and things like that. It was very very fun and interesting.
Nice. And then can you give us, so what were some of the topics that you learned about in your course?
So I guess in my course, I went initially. I wanted to go into somewhere into the anthropology, like what makes us humans and things like that. Um, sorry, could you repeat it? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, sure. Just discuss with us kind of what you learned about in your course.
So learning in my course, we covered a lot of things. I mean, we covered a lot of the research skills that a researcher needs, like how to collect data, how to talk to people, how to make connections, and how to like analyze that data that you collected. Um, we talked about how to do a literature review, and pretty much it was a one-on-one process on how to write a whole research paper based on my interest.
And what was your interest? Was it in anthropology?
Initially, it was in anthropology, but I guess I moved more towards development. Regarding my topic, I did a topic on breastfeeding actually and stunting and the motivations behind behind mothers' decisions in feeding styles when raising a child in East Nusa Tenggara, which is a province in Indonesia.
That's very interesting. So with that, we will discuss your specific research topic. So can you tell us, how you decided on this topic?
I guess there was two things that really inspired me to start this topic. The first one was a book I read regarding toxic charity, which I believe is written by Robert D. Lupton. Um, so in that book, it really explored the concept of toxic charity and how like current charity processes like do more harm than it really does good. So that really got me interested in something in that area. However, the second thing that also got me really, really interested was one of my trips I took with an NGO to East Nusa Tenggara, which again is a region in Indonesia, where I was able to speak to people one on one regarding the stunting issues and their lives, and I guess that rather inspired me to pursue this topic, especially in the stunting field, because I was exposed to it.
Nice. And that's great that it seems like you were able to collect some primary data. So can you talk us through your research methods? Were they quantitative, qualitative? Did you create a survey or a questionnaire? And what was that like?
So the research method was essentially my research method was a qualitative and quantitative method actually. So I collected data over 3 days in three different villages in East Nusa Tenggara, which is Papagarang, Warloka, and Ngorang. And there I surveyed 49 mothers, and I conducted 16 interviews, one-on-one interviews, and 16 interviews with mothers, and 4 interviews with community health workers to gain more insight into that.
Wow, that's very cool. Was this your first time doing this kind of data collection?
Um, Actually, yeah. This is my first time actually doing any type of research actually, and being able to have the chance to collect data on the ground was really, really exciting for me. Um, it was also scary to be honest. I mean, at times, especially in the beginning, because I did not really know what to expect, and I was told by my professor, by my mentor, Dr. Shertach, um, that sometimes you have to be prepared for the unexpected, and you have to be prepared for anything. So I guess in that way it's also exciting because I got to meet more people. I got to see how they live, and I got to really pursue something that I'm passionate about
Nice,
from the
that's
front
incredible.
lines.
And it seems like it can be very intimidating to collect primary data, especially as such a young researcher like yourself. So that's really great and a great experience as well. Can you walk us through your findings of the study? Were there anything interesting or maybe surprising findings that you had?
Oh yes, I can definitely do that. Regarding the findings, there's a lot to say actually. So just to get a general idea of what I was trying to talk about, I was trying to talk about and research what are the influences on mothers to choose the type of feeding they give their child. Like, do they breastfeed? Do they follow the WHO standards of like 6 months and 6 months exclusive breastfeeding and things like that? Um, so the findings were quite interesting. Of course, some of the motivations I found, which I expected, was like um, economic challenges, especially regarding formula, the use of formula milk. If formula milk is considered expensive in for certain families and certain households, and that became one of the dominant findings regarding my research paper. The second thing, perhaps more interesting, however, is an information hierarchy. Um, Normally, you would expect something like formula milk marketing to significantly influence individuals and mothers to push them towards less exclusive breastfeeding and more towards milk formulas. However, instead, I found rather that this is completely not true, and we overestimate the influence on marketing on these mothers. Instead, what they trust is more of community health workers. These community health workers tend to drive the decisions that mothers make. They influence how they make their decisions, and many of them actually opt for um, for breastfeeding because that is something that they prefer overall. I also found something really, really interesting regarding milk formulas and this idea of a convenience paradox. Generally speaking, for we tend to view formula milk as the more convenient option, especially in first world nations. However, interestingly enough, in third world countries and underdeveloped areas such as East Nusa Tenggara, we found that this idea is the opposite. The convenience that formula milk offers is not there. Why? Well, this is simply because of that they do not have the resources needed to make milk formulas accessible. You need infrastructure to heat the milk up, sanitize things, um, create it, and of course the economic factors comes in there, and it simply makes milk formulas unaccessible and inconvenient. Now, I guess the reason why I mention this is because of the potential implications of this. I guess again, this challenges the idea of marketing. However, it also emphasizes the idea of on the ground community based work instead of a top down influence. So, yeah.
That's really interesting. I think in many fields, the role of community health workers is often very overlooked when they play such a critical role. They have, usually they are a part of the community, so they have relationships with the people they're working with and can be a great influence. So that's really interesting findings. And I definitely agree with the third finding of, breast milk being a lot more convenient, especially in those settings where you might not have access to purified water very easily. And like you said, heating and all of that. That's very interesting. Was this kind of what you expected to find, or do you think you were surprised at the findings?
I guess I could say I was really surprised. I mean, going into this, I expected more of a toxic charity approach where like the initiatives created by governments or like NGOs are more uh, considered toxic charity and do more harm than good. But rather, I found the opposite. Um, Many of these organizations have realized that the best way to to create the best impact, is through on the ground grassroots implications, and that was something I really did not expect. Again, the information hierarchy was extremely unexpected for me because, as you said, it tends to be overlooked. Except we through this research, I realized, and it's realized how powerful they actually are in development work.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a really great project and seems like you learned a lot, which is wonderful. So now we're just going to shift into discussing your general experience with CCIR. So firstly, can you tell us what your experience was like in the program doing a high-level research project like this as a high school student?
I mean, to put it simply, it was really exciting and really eye-opening. I was given the opportunity to do experimental learning outside the classroom, which was something I really, really value. It taught me many valuable skills that I would not ever actually be able to learn inside the classroom. It taught me real-world skills, how to talk to organizations, how to get some help, how to talk to just people, and how to network and how to connect. It also taught me like how to even do a literature review and basic skills that I think are really necessary. How to analyze data and how to use it to support an argument, and that was really important to me. Um, CCIR as a whole was, I think, very very fun. Going to East Nusa Tenggara and executing a project that I put so much time and effort to was really rewarding because, well, you spend so much time, you're so dedicated to this project that, and you finally were able to do it. It's something else that you can't find in the classroom.
I think that's great. And then how was this research process and the process of kind of designing your research study and conducting the data collection? How was that compared to other papers or projects you've done in school before?
I guess that it goes back to the idea of experimental learning, which I value a lot. Normally, for like if I were to do research projects and things like that, I would not be able to actually collect data, especially in the field, especially with people with real impact. It tends to be more of like, oh, I need to do this for a school project. I'm not really interested in this, but like, hey, I need to do it for the sake of my grade. But this one was something I felt was different. It was something that I truly cared about, which um, made things a lot more interesting. And I guess there's a lot more planning to go into it. And yeah,
Great. And then just a few more questions for you. Do you think this course has given you any insights into your future? Has it maybe informed or shaped how you think of your path moving forward, either for your university or even your career choices?
um, I it's was eye opening. I guess the biggest thing I learned from this was that I really, really, really like the research process. Being able to make my own research question, research it, do a literature review, create questions, find findings that really impacted the world. I guess in that way, it made me understand that I really, really like research. When it comes to like careers and future pathways, I've always known that I really, really like social science and development work, and I guess reinforced my philosophy of whatever course or major I want to go into is I want to be able to help people in the best and most effective way possible. And I guess through this project I was able to do that, and I was successful in doing that.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely would agree that you were. And then my last question for you, what would you say to someone who asked you what the value of doing a project or a program like this is, especially for a high school student?
For high school students, I'd say the experience you get building your own research question, pursuing something you're passionate about, doing something for the sake of your own self over sake of your grade. That is something else you don't get in a classroom in a school. You get to see the impact that you make on these people. You get to talk to people. You get to understand your you get to understand people around you and how they work, and you understand. It's just something there that you cannot learn in the classroom. The entire process, and which is very valuable, especially in today's world where um, knowledge is very important, and pursuing what you like is very important and is key to success.
I think that's great advice. So that brings us to the end of our Spotlight Series interview. Thank you so much for chatting to me and congratulations again on your nomination.
Thank you so much.